Hi, let's talk about Playing God by Polyphia today. My subscriber has asked me to do some analysis, and I think that the secret of this music is that it constantly tries to surprise us in many different ways. And how exactly? I'll tell in this video, measure by measure. Let's start. So when we start to listen to this composition, everything seems to be rather familiar, because we hear guitar, the instrument we used to listen to. The first notes are from 12 equal temperament, the system that is used in many variety of European musical pieces, and the first notes are from minor chord. So everything seems to be okay till we reach the second half of the first bar, when we meet a new way of performing notes on the guitar. This is natural harmonics. And our listener may not be ready for such new technique in the first bar, because he may not be in the composition with his mind. Maybe he needs some more time. The second bar surprises us with its rhythm. The syncopation is when we perform notes in unusual for our head time. And also we remember that the first bar contains only one chord, while in the second bar we have two chords, C major and E minor. Yeah? It seems that everything is out of control, maybe, yeah? Next, the third bar, besides the common playing technique and natural harmonics, introduces us a slide or glissando. And in the fourth bar, which contains two chords again, we hear the pizzicato or palm muted technique. At the same time, it's very hard to tell which notes are melody and which are accompaniment. Which notes shall I sing when I want to share this crazy piece with my friend? You see, I found some crazy stuff, listen to it. Because the space between notes is rather big. For example, this first note and this, in the first measure, it has octave and a half between them. Let's slow down a bit. And what's left European in this piece? Well, first of all, the time signature. In simple terms, time signature is how much will you hit the floor with your leg when you will be dancing, listening to this music. And the time signature of this piece is 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And the second thing is harmony, the chords that are used in this melody. And the chords are very simple indeed. But they appear in a very unusual time. So we end up our fourth measure with tonic chord, the most stable chord of a key, and usually it means that we shall start a new phrase, so we will rise and fall again, but not in the playing God, because the fifth measure starts with C chord. And then a bunch of natural harmonics, which are hard to perceive because the distance between them is pretty big. And sixth measure has a little of classical music in it. Listen to it carefully. Sounds like some Baroque music maybe, yeah? Why? Because it uses polyphonic musical style, when we have multiple voices, each one of them is melody, and we listen to them simultaneously. For example, the upper voice goes down and the second voice goes up. And it's very beautiful and very elegant. Why is it here? The 21st century, why we hear this? In the 7th bar we are allowed to rest a bit because it copies the 3rd bar, but it's a trap because we expect that the 8th bar will be like the 4th bar, but it will not happen. If you remember, the 4th bar ended with tonic chord, the most stable chord, and the 8th bar will never reach it. First we have a first note of a scale, and maybe we should stop there, but no, we'll continue. Then these notes. Listen, we want to reach this chord, the tonic chord, but we will never reach it. I hope that you're not tired, because there's so much I want to tell you about. For example, the next part, the 17th measure, starts with silence. There is no note there. While in previous bars there were notes on the first beat. And then notes appear very rapidly, because we're using guitar pick, hammer-ons, pull-offs and tapping technique. In music we have such term as musical scale. This means that we filter our 12 notes and leave only, for example, 7 of them. And before 18th bar there were only 7 notes that were used, and they all belong to harmonic minor scale. But in the 18th bar we hear the note that doesn't belong to it. And we insist that it is there. And we think, okay, maybe we change our scale, but then we begin to play our notes one by one. This called chromatic scale. Well, not filtering at all. Yeah? So we finally reach that chord, but surprise our listeners with the rhythm. If before we divide our notes by 2 or 4, then in this measure we divide a note by 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is called triplets. And then our triplets become bigger, and due to not playing notes simultaneously but arpeggiate them, it sounds like we kill the rhythm. Because there's so much going on in rhythm too. And if you closely listen to these chords, you'll hear that they are from some Latin American music, I suppose. And finally, let's talk about musical form. Musical form is how a different part of a melody follow each other. So in this piece we have a form which is called ABAC form, which means that our main parts A are altering with some secondary parts B and C. And this form is rarely used and very risky to use, because it has some open question in it in the end. A, B, A, C, and it's over. The more common form is A, B, A, C, A. But this form, A, B, A, C, suits playing God very well, in my opinion, because the secondary parts B and C are in Latin American style, and it sounds rather okay because they're so relaxed, and you don't need to answer some questions maybe. And finally, talking about styles, there is some notes from dubstep style. We hear it in some rhythmic patterns and the big space between notes. And one final note. Please tell me, doesn't it sound familiar to you? There was a song. Bailando, bailando, amigos, adios, adios, da 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 da. But it's in my head only. I have to mention that Playing God is a great example of postmodern music, where we combine many different styles like Spanish guitar and Latin American music and dubstep and classical harmony and different rhythms. Yeah. So thank you for watching this video. See you.